event. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live, and welcome to this another special edition of the Cold Country Podcast, live in action. We got everybody here. Jit is over to my right. You can't see him on camera, but he's here. You got me and Matt to my left, and then Tyler joining us from his dorm room on campus.
You ain't got to expose me like that.
Hey, I ain't going to tell him what dorm you're in.
Fair
Not
enough.
like anybody cares. It's a bad dorm.
It is one of the poorer dorms.
You live in the slums.
No, he's at a Holiday Inn right now. We're all fooling you.
I'm downtown. Come find me.
Yeah.
Well, saying you're downtown and you're in a crappy dorm, how many options are there?
There's like three.
Well, there's no bad dorms on Evansdale, so
That's true.
well, it depends. It depends on how bad you view towers.
Well,
from what I've heard,
They got roaches there.
pretty rough.
Man, we're just downplaying our campus now.
I wouldn't say
Stop hating. Stop hating.
I'm just being realistic.
All right, boys, before we get on the topic of Ross Hodge, I want to talk a little bit about the women's NCAA tournament. So Matt and I went. We were in Chapel Hill.
I got a shirt while I was down there.
You can tell from a shirt.
Shout out Cookout.
Dude, Cookout was so good. Like, it's
Are you wearing North Carolina gear right now?
I thought it was funny.
You're wearing Tar Heel blue. I didn't realize that.
I'm a Mountaineer fan.
It doesn't have Tar Heel anything on it, though. Like, there's no logo or anything on a shirt.
But it's got the North Carolina state logo or state outline.
Fresh hamburgers, barbecue, and hot dogs. I get a burger.
It's Tar Heel blue. Now, if it was like a different color, I wouldn't be mad about it.
Well,
I don't think he's
If
mad.
I wore like Carolina Jordans, would that take you off?
No.
Okay.
That's what
Good point. Good point.
Well, boys, want to talk a little bit about the tournament. So the women obviously play Columbia in the first round, which I think for all of us paying close attention was kind of a surprise. You know, Columbia had to match up with Washington in one of the first four games, and Washington basically had a 60% chance to win. They were top 10 in the country in field goal percentage and 3-point field goal percentage, and Columbia managed to pull one out. Watching that game, both teams played fast. So I knew that the Mountaineers would have a challenge on their hands regardless of who came out on top in that game. But we managed to find a way to get it done against Columbia, a relatively comfortable win. And then we go to Monday, and they match up against the Tar Heels on their home court. I did not realize until I was there that the Tar Heels had a separate gymnasium for the women's basketball team and gymnastics and volleyball and everything else. But then there was another arena just for men's basketball. I thought that was kind of crazy.
What do you think about that, Tyler?
Crazy.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I somebody had mentioned it before we went down there that they had a separate arena, and I got a couple pictures while we were in there. No place like home, that's for sure. The games were good. We did not play offense very well at all.
In the first game we did.
The first game was just solid all around. Nothing standout, I didn't think. JJ and Jordan both had over 20 points, if I recall correctly. But that second game, we just could not score. And I said in the first quarter, man, this kind of feels like the TCU game from the Big 12 tournament where we started off even with them and we got into a slump, and we came back out of that and had a good fight for the rest of the game, but we were down. In this game, we were just in the slump in terms of scoring. Even when you had good penetration and got in there, layups just weren't going in, shots weren't falling. I think we were less than 10% from the 3-point line. Just was not good offensively.
We were 9% from three, so that was hard to watch. I can't even remember being there and watching a 3-pointer going in. So that's just how bad it was. Also, offensively, there were a lot of times we were trying to create something on ball, whether it be a screen or ISO or whatnot, and we would lose the ball. We would either make a bad pass or just dribble the ball off of ourselves and it would go out of bounds, or they pick it up. It seems like when we played earlier on in the season, that's what we were doing to teams. We were making them do that, and it was sad to watch us succumb to that same fate against North Carolina. But I got to say, there's no cooking like home cooking. That atmosphere was great, even though some of their fans were a little iffy, to say the least. I just wish we were at home. That game the whole time made me wish that we had gotten a top 4 seed.
Yeah, I will say the atmosphere there was not nearly as hostile as I don't want to say hoping for, but I really do enjoy that aspect of live sporting events when the crowd really impacts what's going on. Not to say that the fans, weren't present. They filled the stadium pretty well, and obviously they were engaged. There was a lot of cheering and stuff, but it just felt it wasn't on the same level as Mountaineer games are. That's for sure. I don't know, but I really feel like the Mountaineer presence there was great. There were a lot of good fans in the stands. One of the things that is maybe funny when we left, we always have fans come up to us from opposite teams and say, hey, it was great to see you guys. It was a great game, win or lose, But it was funny, we were getting on the bus to leave after the game, and I said, man, it's weird. Like, typically there's not this many sober people at the sporting events that we're at. Maybe that's a Mountaineer thing. I'm not sure, but that was a funny difference there.
Top 3 parties.
Tyler, did you watch the game at all?
I watched both. I guess I'll start with good news in that I thought we played well against Columbia. Obviously expected. I'm glad that we got at least one win in the tournament. JJ was able, and the seniors were able to go out with at least one win in the tournament. Obviously didn't play out the rest of the way that we wanted it to, even though I thought we had a chance against North Carolina. JJ in the Columbia game had 27 points, 7 steals, 7 assists, and 4 rebounds. Like, a heck of a stat line against Columbia. The only negative was that she also had 8 turnovers. And I think that might have either matched or passed her season high, if I'm not mistaken. And then you kind of just get to the bad news, and it's where the offense just completely fell flat. I didn't think we played bad basketball. We just couldn't hit shots. 9% from 3, 24% from the field. It's not going to cut it. JJ had 8 points, and she only hit 2 of her 12 shots. Jordan Harrison only hit 2 of her 9 shots. Nobody shot the ball well. Again, I thought it was a fight till the end kind of game. We couldn't hit shots.
Yeah, and I will say defensively, I still think that was a good showing from us. I mean, you have to score to win games, and we just had a hard time doing that. But defensively, and like you said, we weren't playing bad basketball. We just couldn't score. I think Kyle Watson ended the night in this against UNC with 15 rebounds.
She had a good night.
Turnover margin was very slim. I mean, it was a solid, and it was a slugfest. And I watched the press conferences from both teams after the game, and that's what Coach Kellogg said. And props to him. He's had a great 2 seasons here. We're excited to see what's to come. He's done a great job with the team. But he said the same thing. He knew going into it, this was going to be a slugfest. They're not a bad team, obviously. They definitely deserved a high seed. That was totally a game that we could have won. and holding them to, what was it, 58 points was, I mean, that just is a testament to how good defensively our team is. So
very low scoring game. In my opinion, it seemed like you guys are right. We did not play a bad brand of ball. But we missed a lot of our shots, I think, because North Carolina was drawing so many fouls. Like, we can talk about the officiating in that game. North Carolina was drawing so many fouls. We were trying to do the same thing on the other end. Like, we would miss a couple jumpers and be like, okay, well, if we can't get it from out here, we're going to go inside and be physical and try to at least draw a foul call. And that just didn't happen for us. And a lot of the time, we would draw contact and just at least try to get the shooting motion off. And the ball obviously wouldn't go in and no foul was called. So that counted towards our total. It was unfortunate to see the officiating be the way that it was, although I wouldn't say it was nearly as bad as some other games. It was still bad. So you can contribute some of the officiating to the end result.
I wouldn't say that. I mean,
there were definitely points where it felt like it was being tossed, and not in the sense that it was being, paid off or whatever. I'm not going to make any allegations like that, but there were definitely parts of the game where you just had to throw your hands up and say, I cannot believe that this is happening. Case in point, I don't know, it was in the second or third quarter, kind of in the middle of the game, when there were 3 calls fouled in the same, or I can't even talk. There were 3 fouls called in the same possession within 26 seconds, all on us. That got Kylie Blackson up to 4, I believe. And
it got Jordan Thomas 2 fouls in like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that like it was great officiating, but my rule for officiating is if I'm going to talk about it, it has to determine the outcome of the game. And with us shooting 24% from the field and 9% from 3, we ended up losing by 11. I don't think a couple bad calls determined the outcome of the game. Am I saying it was perfect? No. But I don't think the officiating determined the outcome of the game. Like, we shot 23 free throws, they shot 22. I'm trying to find the fouls. 22 fouls on us, 20 fouls to them. I think it was fairly similar.
Now, I see your point there. I will say I feel like that is too broad of a statement to make because, for example, a lot of the fouls caught on us, and obviously I'm a little biased at this point, but a lot of the fouls caught on us, if they were BS fouls, so to speak, that just gives them more free throws down the line where they shouldn't have had any in the first place, like when you get into the bonus and whatnot. Also, it forces you to play a lot more reserve. For example, JJ should be Defensive Player of the Year, and she had 4 fouls going into the fourth quarter, midway through the third, really. And so she had to spend extra time on the bench. And thankfully, she was able to come back in and play still very well, but you can't be nearly as aggressive because of that. And it's hard. It really changes the dynamic when it's boom, boom, boom all at once. And that's kind of what happened in the middle of the game.
That's fair. I mean, we're going to have differing opinions here because I'm going to stand by that. I don't think it changed the outcome of the game. And like I said, there were definitely a couple questionable calls. I did watch the game mostly all the way through. I think I missed a little bit of the third. But as far as I could tell, although a couple questionable calls, I don't think it changes the outcome. What we needed was a home court advantage, and we didn't have it.
No, I agree with you there. It's just my take on the officiating was, yeah, we caused a lot of fouls. So did North Carolina. But my main point is that we couldn't play our normal players for as long, and we couldn't be as aggressive for longer. Now, would that have actually affected the outcome of the game? Who knows? Because they didn't get that time to play. They didn't get the time to rectify their shooting woes. So who knows from that regard? So I see both points. I see both sides of the coin here. But anyway, overall, great season for the ladies. I couldn't be more proud of them. They made the tournament and actually won a game where the men didn't get the opportunity to. Still upset about that. But speaking of the men's basketball team, let's get on the topic of Ross Hodge.
Before we go, I just want to give a shout out to somebody that's going to go down in the West Virginia legend history books, and that is J.J. Quinterly for an incredible career at West Virginia.
Absolutely.
On her career, she played 126 games, repping the old gold and blue. She averaged 16 points throughout her entire career, her high being 20.4 points a game, that being this season. 3.3 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 2.6 steals, which is kind of ridiculous if you think about it. Just an incredible career. I just wanted to give a little shout out to her. She's like I said, she's going to go down in the history books as a West Virginia legend. So thank you, JJ, for everything you did for the gold and blue. We applaud you for your performances. We thank you for your performances. We're going to miss watching you out there.
Yep. Thank you, JJ. Thank you to all the seniors as well. And thank you to all the seniors on the men's basketball team, Javon Small, all you guys. Legends.
Javon too.
So now we can talk a little bit about Ross Hodge. Red Baker made the announcement the other day that Ross Hodge is going to be the next men's basketball head coach. Ross Hodge hails from North Texas. From the past 2 years, his overall coaching record was 46-23 with a 66% winning percentage at North Texas. This will be his first head coaching gig on a Power 4 level, if I'm correct. He has not made the tournament before. So, Tyler, I know you're itching to say a little bit about it. What do you think?
Okay, so I don't want to get any hate, right? Because he is our new men's basketball coach, and I'm going to support him. I'm going to wish him the best, and I'm going to believe in all I got that West Virginia is going to be good next season and for many seasons to come. But I want to say that I'm cautiously optimistic because this wasn't necessarily the hire that I wanted. Now, before I move on, this was a weird coaching cycle in that not necessarily the best two candidates, but two of the candidates that I thought were best for the job in Ben McCullum and Medved had coaching jobs open near or in their home state. Obviously, Ben McCullum ended up going to Iowa and Medved going to Minnesota. So McCullum was the obvious answer. It sucks that we couldn't bring in McCullum. But like I said, cautiously optimistic with Ross Hodge here. And I'm going to remain optimistic because the more I've read into him, the more I've looked up, it kind of gives me a little bit more hope. I think a lot of people are including myself at first, were being a little too quick to judge. Like you said, he has no tournament wins. And he has no signature wins. It almost feels like what I have seen as a Neil Brown type coach, where he wins most of the games he's supposed to, and then can never get over the hump to beat one of the top dog teams. But like you said, he's only been in major college basketball for 2 years, and that was at North Texas, where he's taken North Texas to the NIT, I believe, both years. And this year he's got him in the Final Four of the NIT. We'll see how they handle UC Irvine and see if they can make the championship. I'm obviously rooting for them. That's about – I don't want to say that's all I can say because there's plenty to say about Ross Hodge, but he's such a new coach to the, coaching world. He's obviously been coaching for a while. He's not, 20 or anything. But as far as the NCAA tournament world, he's new. What I will say is that a lot of sports personalities, big sports personalities, have made it known that they thought we got a solid head coach in Ross Hodge. That is what's I'm saying, keeping me cautiously optimistic, is that a lot of big names out there that know what they're talking about, they're saying that this is a home run hire for West Virginia. And somebody else can go because it's going to take me a second to find it. But if I can find a tweet here in a second, one that relates to, big names out there saying that it was a home run hire. It was kind of funny as well. But yeah, cautiously optimistic about Ross Hodge. but I'm excited for the next era. Hopefully this time isn't a one and done.
I'll hop in here for a second. I have never been super into analysis of the coaches that are moving around, but from what I've seen, he has basically an 80% win percentage in 7 seasons as a head coach. That's pretty solid. And then, as you said, he's in the NIT Final Four, which they won in 2023 for the first time in UNT's program history. That's not a bad. I don't want to toss that away and say that doesn't mean anything. The NIT is still, a very relevant tournament. I think that is a good badge. I think he should wear that with pride. And I, for one, look forward to seeing what happens. I've never been one to say, oh, he'll be bad, oh, he'll be good. Nothing's happened yet. You have to wait and see. I've always said that. But I'm hopeful, and like we've shown, Ren Baker's hires have been home runs. So I like that analogy.
Yeah, I think we are all on the same page. I am very optimistic about Ross Hodge coming to WVU. His 2 years at North Texas, the NIT awards that Matt mentioned, and then his overall head coaching purview gives me optimism. The only thing that I am skeptical about, like Tyler was saying, is the non-experience at the Power 4 level.
Well, Power 4 doesn't apply to college basketball. It's just like major college basketball. I know what you mean, though. Power 4 is a football thing. I know what you mean, though.
Okay, yeah. It's the experience at that major level. He hasn't had a chance to prove himself. We were just coming off of a new era in Darian DeVries. That was a whole marketing scheme put on by the university that it was time to move on, and we were going to build our new brand off of DeVries. And now we just all of a sudden have to turn away from that. And the only option we have is to look at a coach that doesn't have that experience yet. So that's where I'm sort of turned off, I guess you could say. But again, I think we're all in agreement that Coach Hodge has the opportunity of a lifetime here to start his career at a very storied college basketball program. And you have to have optimism for that regardless of his experience. I want to ask Jit to get in on this a little bit. So I guess you've heard the name Ross Hodge thrown around the past few days. I'm assuming you've heard it and seen it on social media.
Mostly just group chats that we're in.
That's fair enough. I know you can get the vibe off of somebody without seeing them. I can show you a picture of him now. I'll pull up a picture of Ross Hodge.
While you do that, I did want to.
Okay, Google, show me a picture of Ross Hodge.
While you're doing that for old Jitster, this is the tweet I was talking about from Fran Fraschilla. Didn't want to spill the beans, but I think at WVU Hoops made a very good hire in Ross Hodge, a very capable ball coach, quietly super competitive and smart, and he's got an athletic director that has total faith in him. Don't see him cutting and running like the last guy. That was, for those of you who don't know, Fran Fraschilla is a ESPN basketball analyst, and he had that to say about Darren DeVries. Not sure how Darren might have took that once he saw it, but it's little tweets like that make me feel good about Coach Hodge going into year one, because the big boy names, the analysts, ESPN analysts, and other coaches and directors around the sport are very high on him. So, like I said, cautiously optimistic. What I did want to say is that he's a very defensive-oriented mind coach, and a lot of people are going to find that a little, skeptical, because they, like the Alabama type basketball plays where you're just kind of running up and down the court, chucking up shots because it's entertaining. I don't. I like a defensive basketball team. I miss Press Virginia. I like Ross Hodge's play style, his defensive schemes, his defensive schematics. That's what I do like about him more than anything else, is that he's a defensive-oriented coach that is going to shut down any high-powered offense, to an extent, obviously. But that's where my most faith in Ross Hodge as head coach is coming from is his defensive oriented mind.
Yeah, Huggins was defensively oriented too. You could tell that in a lot of his offensive play style as well with Press Virginia. All right, Jit has now seen the pictures of Ross Hodge, and we need the initial reaction.
We get a rating 1 through 10.
1 through 10.
Well, can I have permission to speak freely of just like looking at him
Okay.
and saying what I have to analyze it?
Yes.
Fair enough. We are live. Just keep that in mind.
No, I know. But like freely under the confines of being live on whatever. He looks like he enjoys a beer on a Sunday night sitting in his hot tub.
That's the type of guy I like.
He looks like he has 2 daughters and he lives on a farm, but not really a farm that he uses for like anything productive. He just likes to have the acreage.
That is an interesting description.
He looks like he's a family man.
I like that.
I know that I looked at his Instagram the day that he was hired, and he is a man of faith. So Jit's not
indeed.
far off.
I did kind of pick up that vibe. He has the haircut for it. He also looks like he enjoys the holidays and hosts parties for them.
I feel like he would throw a heck of a Christmas party.
He probably would, honestly. We
should ask him.
We're so far left right now.
Yeah, like he looks like he has a he looks like his wife really enjoys cooking Thanksgiving dinner, and he takes pride in cutting the turkey with his electric turkey cutter. You know,
dude, I would take pride in cutting a Thanksgiving
me too.
turkey.
I have my own electric turkey cutter. That's why I'm like I relate to him. That's good.
Okay, how do you feel that he's going to affect our basketball program? You think it's going to be good? You think it's going to be bad?
I feel like it's going to be a different energy than we're not used to, because like from the 2 coaches that I've like sort of been around for in a sense, they've both had like sort of like, I'd have to say, more colder vibes in the sense of like if they were like a color, it'd be like blue or like purple or like more green, you know. But like this guy seems like a red. Like I feel like he has more energy.
Okay.
I feel like he has a lot more energy than we're anticipating, and I feel like when he like gets in, it's gonna take some time to getting used to, because for like all of our people on our team, the staff and everything, because it's gonna take a second.
Yeah, I was saying, this stuff sounds kind of weird on a live stream, but to the players and the staff, this is actually going to be something that matters. His attitude, the way that he brings forward his strategy. Excuse me, sorry, Matt. I was over here. I was trying to save myself. I was like half burping. I'm like, I do not want to do this.
I don't know what you're going to say to that. Yeah,
I wouldn't either.
I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how we look next season.
What I like is that he is still, despite we need a coach because portal's open, but he's still coaching North Texas in the NIT, as far as I'm aware. So the loyalty.
Yeah, I saw that he was going to follow through with the rest of their season.
The loyalty is not something West Virginia fans are familiar with the past couple of years. Not really. I mean, Darren's the only one that's up and left us. Hugs was here for forever.
Neil Brown had no choice.
Yeah, Eiler had no choice. Neil Brown was going to stay regardless if he got fired. He was going to stay if he didn't get fired is what I mean. So
Dawn Plitzowite was our women's basketball coach for one season before Kellogg came in.
Yeah, people forget about her. I forgot about her.
I just want to say that because of all this, I feel like our school in like the sports realm has really bad trust issues now. Like really, really bad trust issues. So
I still see people in Instagram comments and on X, like even in other fan bases, still saying that they feel bad for us because of what's transpired in the past few weeks.
I'm telling you, I have thinking about we're obviously all students at West Virginia. Thinking about what has happened over the past couple of years of us all being students here, Obviously, you all before me. In major sports, obviously we have had a lot of success in baseball, rifle, other Olympic sports, etc. But major, the basketball, football, women's basketball, I'd say that those are the three that West Virginia kind of hangs its hat on outside of baseball and rifle. You had the last second pick six against Pitt. You had, I'm trying to think of the next year, Hail Mary against Houston. You had 10-point comeback in under 4 minutes against Pitt the next year. You had Neil Brown fired. You had the awful officiating against Iowa in March Madness for the girls last year, I believe. You've got West Virginia snubbed from the tournament. West Virginia has, this is obviously not in order, but West Virginia has its worst basketball season ever with 9 wins. You've had a basketball coach leave after having a really good season after getting snubbed. I mean, it has been a rough couple of years of West Virginia sports fandom.
I'm just saying I wasn't expecting all this whenever I signed up as a freshman. Because, everyone who goes to WVU, whether they want to admit it or not, like, obviously they go for the athletics and what am I trying to say? Their school, their academics, and the region. But they come here also because our athletics, if I can speak, have been successful. We have a track record of success across almost all sports. And I thought that as well whenever I applied. And this has just sucked the past few years. Like you were saying, it all started with the Pit Six, as I like to call it, a few years ago.
West Virginia's cursed, man. I'm telling you.
I think it is.
There's enough evidence.
I don't know what to say, but hopefully we get Ross Hodge in here. And he's gonna at least turn our men's basketball team back into a tournament team as we should have been this year. I feel like he can do it. Like you were saying, defensive-oriented coach. I like that.
The Raj Hodge Rich Rod Hodge Kellogg trio is going to bring football and basketball to greatness.
Now, I don't know if you have anything in particular you want to talk about right now, but a point you made was about how DeVries left after the snub.
No, he left before. He knew.
Well,
he knew he was gone.
Discussion, I wanted to get your guys' opinions on this. Do you think that played into us not going? Like, do you think there was a conversation had where he's like, I'm out, and that's part of the reason why West Virginia wasn't in the tournament this year?
That is a slippery slope, and if we say it, we might lose a little bit of credibility if we have any. But
it's just a discussion. I'm not alleging that anything happened.
If you take a stance on it and say, let's say we take the stance that yes, he conspired with Bubba to keep us out of the tournament in favor of UNC because he wanted to go to Indiana. Let's say we take that. We'll never know. And that is a bold take from 3 people that don't really know. Now, I told everybody that has asked me about it, my opinions on it. I have said this. My response is there are too many coincidences that lined up in a perfect timeline for it to all just be a coincidence. You've got the Bahamas Bowl being Indiana, West Virginia in there. Not the Bahamas Bowl. I'm sorry. The Bahamas tournament. The tournament in the Bahamas. I can't remember what it was called.
I think it was the Battle for Atlantis.
Yeah, Battle for Atlantis. That's what it was. But you've got West Virginia and Indiana there. Tucker plays the exact number of games, the maximum you're allowed to play for you to be eligible for a medical red shirt. Then he gets injured right after Battle for Atlantis, right after West Virginia and Indiana were together in the Bahamas for a couple days. Waits a suspiciously long amount of time to announce like his surgery, and then even after his surgery, he was in a sling for like a week, and then he was just fine. And then you've got Indiana, West Virginia being snubbed. He leaves West Virginia for Indiana. Like, there's just too many things that are, like I said, coincidences, to be just one big coincidence. But I don't want to make an accusation because, like I said,
Well, we don't know.
We can't prove it. Exactly.
Yeah, we don't know. I don't know, and I don't want to say that I know, but I would have to imagine that these things were discussed in some way, somehow, in some room, somewhere,
In some substance.
It was discussed amongst the correct people or the relevant people. Someone knew. Now, I'm not sure what they knew, but someone knew something, and this whole timeline led to this. Like you were saying, there were too many coincidences.
Yeah, it's.
It's really
I will say
the end of the year.
I feel like the overwhelming majority at least says that Tucker's injury was either faked or more excessive than it needed to be. Like, it wasn't as bad as it was said, and then he waited for surgery so that he could redshirt the year.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of that.
You could also just not play, but I would assume that doesn't make you eligible for the red
No,
shirt.
because he has to have a medical red shirt, and you have to be like, it has to be medical reasons.
Mm.
Also, I'm a little worried about Tucker DeVries, just because.
Is there a chance that medical red shirt gets denied? Like, is that something you have to apply and has to be approved?
Yeah, it's got to be. It's got to be
sure
approved. It could be denied, but.
Well, he already did it though, didn't he? Like, didn't he apply for that when he sat out? Yeah.
Well, when he announced a season-ending surgery, I would assume.
But hey, when it comes to Raekwon Battle, we have to go through a full litany of court cases for that to work out. So, who knows, man?
Dude, I would go to court right now for Javon Small an extra year.
Yeah. For, what is it for? The JUCO thing?
I don't. Did he play JUCO? I don't know if he played JUCO.
I thought he did before he went to East Carolina. I thought he played at a junior college.
He may have. Either way, it's stupid that Javon put all that on the line for this to be what happened to him. I mean, Javon played his heart out.
Yeah, no, it's disappointing, but we have a new era upon us. The women's team is restructuring as well. We got a lot of seniors going out there, so Coach Kellogg going to do a lot of restructuring in the portal, trying to recruit as well. That's going to be good for them. So we're going to have a new identity there. We're going to have a new identity in men's basketball, basically because everybody is out from the DeVries exit. And looking at what were you going to say?
No, you're good.
I was going to say, looking at baseball, our baseball team's killing it, man. Like,
well, they lost yesterday to BYU.
Well, still, they still have a way better record than I thought they were going to. Losing JJ Weatherholt last year, they're still relevant nationally. And I just keep going back to the highlight that I saw a few days ago of the safe bag or the safe plate. I thought that was really cool. Did you guys see that?
Was that from the Arizona game?
Yeah.
Where so I don't remember the guy's name, but ran through first base, and then you're safe, and they added a safety bag. It's this orange plate outside of the running line, so that I'm assuming it's to reduce the risk of collisions or stepping on each other with the spikes. But once you've hit it and you're off of it, it's no longer there. So you need to be on the base to be safe. And he got up, stepped off of it, and then stepped back on it. So he's off base and got tagged and got out. I don't think that's a Major League Baseball thing. I think it's only in college.
Yeah, but, I think it's only a college thing right now.
I'd never seen that before.
I hadn't either until I saw the film of it and the awareness of the first baseman, right? To get his foot back on the plate is crazy.
Very cool. It really pays to know the rules.
That's going to be one of the highlights of the year. But boys, like, we don't watch enough baseball. I don't watch enough baseball. It's baseball season. I got my Pirates cap on right now. We just lost yesterday to the Marlins. I don't care. I'm still hype. I'm going to see Paul Skeens in person. All right, he's going to kill it this year. Don't go anywhere, please. But we need to go watch some West Virginia baseball. I was looking the other day.
We've got Pitt coming to Morgantown in a couple weeks, and I'm going to that one. No, not even a couple
tickets. Well, I think those tickets are sold out. At least as far as what I was looking at.
We'll find a way.
We'll find a way.
Jay, you coming with us?
Yeah,
to come and watch some baseball?
Sure, I'll be
a couple days.
Yeah, like we need to go watch baseball. I need to surround myself more in the world of baseball. I hear that wrestling will also went well for us. I didn't pay that much attention to it, but wrestling did go well for us. That's another sport we got in our bag, man. West Virginia is just good at sports. That's why we decided to do this podcast. Football, basketball, baseball, and baseball is going to be good for the summer.
We could go to the Pitt game in Pittsburgh.
Dude, that'd be so funny to do.
Wear our West Virginia gear.
I don't know if I've told this story on the pod before, but Pitt was playing Virginia Tech a few years ago in football, and I just showed up in all of my West Virginia gear. And I got to hang out with a bunch of Virginia Tech fans and just boo the whole game. It was awesome.
We could go to the Penn State game. Penn State comes to Morgantown April 8th.
I saw that one too.
We'll go to one.
We got a comment from It's Not Okay Golf on YouTube.
And pull it up on the stream. There we go.
It says, thought all baseball games were grassy knoll only tickets now. All seat tickets were sold out for the season as of like several weeks ago.
I think so too, just because when I was looking, it said standing room only on the ticket. So I'm assuming that grassy knoll is probably the standing room.
Well, either way, we'll get the grassy knoll tickets.
Hey, I don't care. I'll set up a towel.
Yeah, we'll get some chairs.
Get out a blanket, have a picnic. You know?
I got a tarp.
And Jit's got a tarp.
I bought a tarp for the eclipse a while back. I sat outside.
There we go.
Watched it. I'll bring the tarp.
Guys, come join us on Grassy Knoll.
That'd be pretty lit. Well, boys, do we have anything else to talk about? You want to talk about anything?
As in, you're done already?
Well, I just wanted to discuss Ross Hodge. We discussed Ross Hodge.
We're live. We've only been live 40 minutes. I wanted to talk a little football because it feels like we haven't gone college football in a while. Obviously, it's quiet in the off season. Anybody got anything in particular they want to talk about? Actually, you know what? Pause. Before we move on to football, I know we went 1-2 yesterday or at least the Big 12 went 1-2 yesterday in the tournament, Sweet 16. But I still think we're representing well. Arizona hung in with what is looking like the best team in the tournament right now in Duke. I mean, despite Duke being, like I said, one of the best teams, they were in it till the end. Caleb Love showed out. Incredible showing. BYU, Alabama just couldn't miss. I don't know if either of you watched the Alabama-BYU game, but, I mean, BYU looked like 2017 Warriors. They literally could not miss from three. So, and then obviously Texas Tech with the second largest Sweet 16 comeback yesterday, and tipped off by Darian Williams 3 to tie it right at the end of regulation. Obviously, there was a little bit of time left, but he hit a 3 at the end of regulation, sent it to OT, and then hit the game-winning bucket at the end of OT. So Texas Tech moves on to the Elite Eight. BYU and Arizona represented well. Houston plays later today. I'm not sure what time they play, but I do know they play later today. They play at 10 o'clock.
10?
10 o'clock, Purdue.
I think Houston will come out on top over Purdue.
I agree. I've been impressed with Purdue.
I picked Arizona in my bracket. It sucks to see them not win. My bracket ain't very good, to be honest. But it sucks to see them not come out on top, but you're right. Duke is looking insane. And then Alabama, just a historic night, setting the record for threes in a tournament game. It's crazy. and they won by like 20, I think. I'm not looking at the score right now, but
they shot 51 threes and made 49% of them. They made 25 threes in the game.
That is just ridiculous.
yeah, and they set the record at 22. I remember getting that notification last night.
The
They
final
blew out the
score
record.
the final score was 113 to 88.
Yeah, that is
Like
not
that-
a score you
that's,
see very often in college ball.
No, that's an NBA score.
Yeah.
That's wild. And
So,
and what did you say that BYU had? They were in the 80s.
They had 88. Like I said,
You don't
BYU
typically lose with 88 points.
No, BYU did what they could, but when the other team is shooting 51 threes and hitting 50% of them, that's ridiculous.
Well, yeah.
So I just wanted to say that
record.
I did want to give props to both BYU and Arizona for, despite losing, they represented the Big 12 well. Alabama and Duke just represented the SEC and ACC better.
Yeah, I think, like you were saying, Duke's the team to beat in the tournament now. Florida, you can put in that conversation. I had Florida winning the whole thing.
It's
but
so
who knows?
chalky, man. It's so chalky.
Yeah, exactly. It's still March Madness, even though we got a fourth of the teams remaining, and even less than that as of last night. It is still March Madness. Things are still going to be crazy. So
every 1 seed and 2 seed is still in it. Texas Tech and Kentucky are technically still in it. Texas Tech obviously just won yesterday. Kentucky plays.
Those are both 3 seeds, correct?
Today. Those are both 3 seeds. Iowa State's out, and then Wisconsin's out. So Iowa State and Wisconsin are the highest seeds out, but no 1 or 2 seed is out. And then there's already 4, 1, 2, or 3 seeds going to the Elite Eight. I mean, it is just a chalky year.
yeah, like I thought there were going to be more, at least good moments in the first and second rounds. You know, like buzzer beaters, insane runs, upsets. There weren't as many as I thought. I think the biggest upset was McNeese, was it not?
Colorado won, but that wasn't an upset because I'm pretty sure Colorado State was favored over Memphis. So, yeah, probably McNeese over Clemson. And then Drake beat Missouri. Those are really the only 2. That's it.
Yeah,
there's been a couple 10-7s, but 10-7s are like coin flip games most of the time. I'll say that Colorado State got robbed because I can't even remember who it was. Queen for Maryland.
Freshman.
Queen walked.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't
Queen.
I didn't dissect that footage, but I can see why people thought that
So,
it was a walk.
Here's this is what I said, right? It was a walk because there is no gather in college ball. You don't gather the ball in college. But people gather the ball in college and it just doesn't get called as a walk, and it happens all the time anyway. So to call it in that situation would be redundant because you never call it anyway. It just kind of sucks that it was in that situation. He did walk, and Colorado State lost because of it. Colorado State had the chance. They were my pick to be the Cinderella. I had them making it to the Sweet 16 and losing to Florida. Unfortunately, they were 1 point away.
Well, see, I didn't believe in Colorado State, so you had the up on me there. You know, there's a guy here that I was talking to last night at the Creative Arts Center. He has the number 24 ranked bracket in the world. And he only has 1 pick wrong. Yeah. And I forget which team it was. He showed me, or he texted me last week. And I forget which team that was, but he was showing me last night and it was updated. He has the 24th best bracket in the world.
Do you know what his name is?
Vanderbilt.
That's his name?
That's his name, Vanderbilt. Yeah. Can you search him up on ESPN? Is that a thing you can do?
Well, I mean, there's like, so there's the rankings, like the leaderboard, and it has rank. There's 2 people in first place. There's 1 person in third place with 780 points. The two people in first have 790. And then
His
there's a bunch in
bracket-
fourth place and a bunch in 24th place. But yeah, I see what you're saying. He's in the 99.9 percentile with 760.
Yeah, the bracket name is like, someone's losing to me fire emoji. I know that if you want to look at it. But anyway, yeah, his bracket is crazy.
Who do you have taking it all? Who do you have winning?
Who did he have winning? Bama. That's his favorite team.
Interesting. Okay. My obvious, like what I will say about mine, and I think yours for the most part, is that I have 6 of 8 Elite 8 teams still in play, and I have all 4 Final 4 teams in play. So, like, despite my incorrect picks, I still have a lot of Final 2 round teams in play.
You got the big picture.
Yeah.
So, all right, what did you want to talk about with college football?
Oh, I just wanted to talk about it because I like college football. No, but what I want to talk about is who we all said Texas was our favorite, correct? To win it all.
Sure. Way too early.
Wait, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, we'll go more in depth closer to season. We'll do record predictions, whatnot. But as of right now, we think it's all record prediction, right? Or I'm sorry, we think it's all Texas as like an early favorite.
Yeah, I can't remember who I had, but I put him up there.
Right now, there are a couple teams favored to win the national championship, obviously with differing odds. It falls in the realm of Texas is up there, Ohio State's up there, Oregon's up there, Notre Dame's up there, Georgia's up there, whatnot. Almost every team I just listed has a new starting quarterback. Obviously, Texas with Arch Manning. Ohio State is likely going to be Julian Sayin. Georgia with Gunnar Stockton. Like, they all have starting quarterbacks that are going to be new. So what I just wanted to talk about, no questions, no, predictions or whatnot, is like, could we see a year of like total change where every team we see right now that we think is going to be at the top, the Texas, the Ohio States, the Georgias, quarterback play just isn't there for them, and you see some of the secondary teams rise? I mean, Drew Aller has been at Penn State for 2 years, 3 years now, so he has the experience. You've obviously have Garrett Nussmeier at LSU with the year under his belt, and LSU has been working in the portal. There's a couple other teams that I can't think of off the top of my head with quarterbacks with starting experience. What do we think?
I wonder how much that experience would just. I wonder how the experience would stack up against just talent, because, like you said, those teams, they're not going to pick up anybody off the street and give them the starting job. I mean, those guys are all fantastic quarterbacks. And they're playing at the highest level of collegiate ball for sure. So, I mean, I'm obviously big on experience. I think it makes a big difference, but I don't know if it would make the difference in terms of knocking a whole team off, because, it's only one position. Obviously, it's probably the most determinate position in how you actually play and win your games. But, I mean, you have the whole team built around you as well. So, even if you're a new quarterback, I'm assuming you're going to be good if you're on those teams. And even without some of that experience, which you're going to get over the course of the season anyway, I don't know that it'll make such a big difference that they fall off, so to speak.
I think the SEC has a crazy year. I think, like, you see Florida, South Carolina, and LSU towards the top, and I think you see the top teams normally, or that you're expecting at least, Georgia, Texas, fall off a little bit. And that, I think that I don't know how that would go for the Big Ten teams. The thing with Ohio State is, like, their entire roster is going to be new. I mean, not entirely off, obviously, but a lot of their rosters was seniors, and obviously they lose quarterback as well. So Ohio State, who is the favorite right now, it's either them or Texas, is bringing a lot of newness in. So does Penn State get over the hump? Penn State plays Oregon in week 5, I think. Can Penn State get over the hump? Does Michigan? I mean, I say Michigan. Michigan's got a new quarterback too, but he's the number 1 ranked quarterback in the country, if not player. I think we have chaos. Not necessarily chaos, but I think it's going to be a lot of interesting standings going late in the season that we're not expecting as of right now, because the top teams are new. Even Tennessee, like me. Tennessee's got Nico coming back. Tennessee might get over the hump.
That's true. I was going to say it'll be interesting overall. I'm not sure if until the season starts you can actually determine a direction for what's going to happen. I feel like the inexperience will play a factor in the established brands of the top of college football. Inexperience is going to be there, but at the same time, those teams know what they're doing. They know what they're looking for. The schools know how to handle the inexperience by now, even if they have new coaching staff or whatever the case may be. I think you could see more equilibrium, if there is such a thing, where schools that were in the middle start to creep towards the top, because that happens naturally every once in 3 or 4 years. You see those schools shift a little bit in conference. In Florida, like you were saying, I think Florida is going to be a big proprietor of that. But I don't know. I would still say that the guys you're used to seeing, you're still going to see them. So,
do you have any? Let's do this then, because we've only been going for about an hour, and I'm not in any hurries unless you all boys are. Let's do a little dark horse in each conference to win each conference and make the playoff. Well, we want to start with SEC.
Well, for me, like I was saying, to win the conference,
just to be at the top of the standings, potential to win the conference late in the season. They're right there with the best of them, that kind of thing.
Oh, so like top 4, sort of.
You don't have to give your top 4. Just give a team that you think not everybody is going to be as high on. I mean, obviously, it's going to be somebody that people are high on, just not as high on. Like, obviously, you're not going to say that Mississippi State is going to go all the way. Sorry to Mississippi State fans, but
You might say that.
I'll
start.
UCF is going all the way.
That's not happening. I don't know. The last time Scott Frost was at UCF, he had them beating Auburn in the postseason. So,
I think SEC, a team that I just said, and people probably wouldn't be looking at too fondly, but they still know they're good. If that makes any sense, is Florida.
I get what you. Well, that's mine too. Is Florida. That's mine too.
What do you think?
I just love DJ Lagway, man.
Well, there was a lot of parity across a lot of the conferences. SEC was one where a lot of teams were in the not quite top of the line, but definitely could have fought for it. That would definitely be your Tennessee or South Carolina. I think either of those two teams are right on the cusp of breaking in to the upper echelon of that conference. So we'll see. I'd say either of those two teams.
My problem is, like last year, Florida has another gauntlet. I mean, it might not be as bad as last year, but they start off easy with LIU and USF, both at home. But they play at LSU in week 3, at Miami in week 4. They have Texas after a bye week, Texas A&M after Texas, Mississippi State bye week, Georgia at Kentucky, at Ole Miss, Tennessee, and then finish the year with Florida State. Like, that is not an easy schedule.
Tough. But I'll tell you, based off, early on in the season after your first 2 games, that really tells you where.
Well, I feel like for them, it's a little. You have to wait till week 3 and see how you play against LSU, because LSU is another team I think makes a big jump. They have Garrett Nussmeier coming back, one of the few teams in the SEC with a returning quarterback. I think LSU can get over the hump this year and at least make the playoffs. So that LSU game in week 3 is what I'm looking at. That's however they play in that game is very determinant of how their season is going to go.
All right, so do we want to do Big Ten now?
We can. I like Michigan. And like you said, it's one of those teams that maybe people, they know they're going to be good, just not expecting them to win it all. Michigan, I think, has the talent to win the Big Ten this year and make the playoffs.
That's what I was going to say as well. Last year was kind of uncharacteristic, but I'm pretty sure they're the highest winning percentage team in the NCAA over the course of history. So
I think, like, I think I've said this before, but if you told me Alabama finished the season with wins against Ohio State and Alabama, I would have told you that they were in the playoff and won it all.
How far do you think that Indiana falls?
Significantly. Okay. At least to 7 I'll say at least to 8-4. Like I'll give them a little bit of hope. The thing is, like, this is where schedule is going to come into play. Like Indiana, like last year, is not as easy, but they also have a relatively easy schedule. So if they can compete at a similar level that they did last year, they have Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, Indiana State. So they should start the season 3-0.
Yeah.
They then have Illinois at home, at Iowa, at Oregon, Michigan State at home, UCLA at home, at Maryland, at Penn State, Wisconsin, at Purdue. So they've obviously have Penn State, Oregon, Illinois, and I think those are their 3 hardest games. Depending on how Iowa turns it up again, if they can get back to where they were a couple years ago. That could be, because it's at Iowa, that could be a difficult game, but again, it's like you've only got 3 games that you're looking at right now that are screaming, hey, we need to prepare for these. And that's at Penn State and at Oregon and Illinois home.
That's fair. Well, I got 3 things to say. Number 1, I don't like to talk much about Illinois because you know who. Number 2, I think Michigan will be there. I think I agree with you guys. That's my top team. And number 3, we can't go this live without talking about the Big Ten and shouting out the original OG number 2 school, Rutgers. Shout out Nassim Brantley.
Oh, we have not said that name in a long time.
We have not shouted out Nassim Brantley.
Not talked about Nassim Brantley. No, Nassim, come on the show, bro. Somebody tag him.
That's crazy.
But I think last year was his last year, sadly. But
that's true. But either way, I'd still have him on the show.
I'm always going to be rooting for Rutgers, man.
Nassim Brantley. What a guy.
All right. So
I like Rutgers. Big 12. I don't have a pick. Big 12 is chaos.
Me either.
Big 12 is just the Big 12.
Yeah. We're skipping the JIT picks today.
Big 12 is just chaos. I don't even know who to pick.
I don't know. I mean, I think if anything, you could say Texas Tech, just because nobody knows how to feel about their recruiting class.
So who are we saying the favorites, right? Well, I don't know I don't know who I would say is the problem. Who are we saying is the favorites?
Here, let me look here. I need a list of the conference.
I think we said K-State or BYU.
Well, that's ours. I don't know what the current odds are. I'm sure it's up there for K-State, Arizona State, BYU. My dark horse.
Not Colorado.
Bro, Baylor.
What about Oklahoma State? Like, they could come out of nowhere and have a good year again.
This is true. I mean, Mike Gundy is Mike Gundy.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we had an uncharacteristic year last year, but that's not
and
deterministic.
I was going to say, team picked last year, which was Arizona State, ended up winning it all. Can you imagine the team that finishes last year wins it all the next in Oklahoma State? That'd be funny.
That would be kind of crazy, but like you were saying, it's possible. I don't know. I'd say, looking at it again, Texas Tech is the big question mark in the conference. So
I want to say the 3 Texas schools that were here prior to expansion. So Baylor, TCU, and Tech. those three schools, I think they all finished similarly last year, and they're all just total question marks.
Fair enough.
They all finished 6-3 in the conference. They all, like Dave Aranda is, despite finishing the season strong, was on the hot seat to begin the season last year. Texas Tech had an underwhelming 2023 and then kind of fought back to have a decent 2024. And then TCU, similar to Texas Tech, had an underwhelming 23 and had a decent 2024. So those three Texas schools are who I'm looking at to be, zero or hero. What are you looking at, Matt?
I was just wondering, is it appropriate to drink the Kool-Aid and say the Mountaineers are going to win the Big 12?
No.
I think it's appropriate when you're talking about the Matt Howe, okay? Like, we need to – I'm down to drink whatever Kool-Aid Matt's drinking when it comes to football.
Yeah, I want a glass of what he's having.
I will allow you to say that Mountaineers are a dark horse to be better than what everybody's going to expect them to be.
Well, I think everybody at this point, not literally everybody, but I mean, in terms of how everyone did last year, and if you assume everyone does about the same, it's entirely a question mark. It's a coin flip between about 4 teams, and even those 4 teams aren't far removed from the next 4 teams in terms of how they do. So it's probably going to be surprising, how it goes.
The thing is like, if you look at the ACC, right, I think there's, 4, maybe 5 teams that are at the top that can contend for a championship, an ACC championship, right? And that's Clemson, Florida State most years. Obviously, Florida State had an interesting 2024 showing, to say the least. I don't know if Florida State gets back to the top. I'm going to assume no. So the couple teams that I would say are capable of competing are Clemson, Miami, Louisville, and I'm going to throw SMU and Georgia Tech. I'm going to throw those 5 in there.
For me, I was going to say SMU, just because nobody knows how they're going to react coming up this season after making the playoffs but having a horrible game against Penn State. That kind of threw a wrench into everybody's expectations moving forward. We all knew that they were probably going to lose that game, but the way that they lost that game and the way that their quarterback just looked so flustered, it looked like he did not know how to throw a football in that game.
Well, I mean, Kevin Jennings is returning their quarterback.
Okay.
So that's why I said I think SMU, you'll find them at the top of the standings again next year. I'm going to say my dark horse that we've been talking about, like we said, Florida, Michigan. I'm going to go with Georgia Tech. But my point was that, like, if you look at the the ACC, it's kind of down to those 5. Like, you've got the top of the conference: Clemson, Miami, Louisville, SMU, Georgia Tech. And then you hit like a rock wall and everybody falls off. Like, there's no chance that Stanford or Wake Forest or Virginia wins the conference next year, right?
Bro, do we remember when Wake Forest was good?
When a COVID season, that doesn't count.
Well, I think it was like 2017, somewhere around there, and they were actually good. They were competing for the conference title. But
well, it was.
I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it was COVID year. They won
it. Was it COVID year?
I think. I'm checking.
But still, yeah, like Wake Forest is just a name to throw in there. That's why it's just funny.
21-22. Wake Forest went 11-3 and 7-1 in conference.
That's what it was. Okay, so I had my year mixed up there.
Either way, could happen again.
Virginia.
Yeah, my point was, we're rambling. My point was that in the ACC, you can pick from like 5 or 6 teams that are going to win it. So you've narrowed it down at least to a third of the conference. Whereas the Big 12, literally every team is in play until they're not. Arizona State was picked last. Nobody expected them to win more than 4 games, and they won the whole thing and almost beat Texas. That's the Big 12 for you.
Yeah, I kind of forgot to put that into perspective.
So, like Arizona right now, I think is the favorites to be last. I say favorites. They're the least favorite to win the conference, I should say. What if they just go crazy?
Get that preseason fire.
Yeah.
Utah.
Yep.
I don't even know what's up with Utah. Cam Rising coming back.
So for me, for the ACC, if we're just choosing dark horse teams here, I would say SMU, just because they're another question mark for me.
Give us another one, because I wouldn't count SMU as a dark horse.
Florida State.
Okay, I like that. I don't hate that, especially because I can't think of his name.
DJ.
Daggone it. No, well, he's gone. I can't think of his name.
I didn't know if he was or not. I didn't know if he graduated.
He was quarterback at Boston College last year.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, but I don't know his name.
I can't think of his name either.
Man.
I don't really have a dark horse pick. I feel like when you look at the ACC, it's kind of just who's not like. You have a couple teams that are generally better.
Castellanos,
like you said.
Thomas Castellanos.
That sounds right. You have a couple teams that are generally better, but I don't know that I would pick any of them that are just always dominating. So, like, I like the SMU pick as a dark horse, pun intended. But since they, were up at the top last year, you're saying you don't like that as a dark horse?
Yeah, because that's like picking Georgia or Texas as a dark horse to win the SEC.
Okay, so I just Googled ACC teams, right? Just so I could get a list of them. For some reason, UC Berkeley is on here. I don't know if they've ever competed in football in the ACC. I
don't know what you're looking at. You don't know the ACC teams? Come on now.
Well, I know them.
I don't
know all of them off the top of my head. You don't even have all of them listed here anyway. So
I bet you I can list them all right now. Not looking at anything, but you can't trust me because I do have a computer next to me.
This is why I Googled.
Assuming you're trusting me that I don't have anything on my computer, right? Syracuse, Boston College, Virginia Tech, Louisville, Pittsburgh, the 4 North Carolina schools: North Carolina, Duke, North Carolina State, Wake Forest, Clemson, Georgia Tech, Florida State. I think that's 13. Miami, that's 14. SMU, Stanford, Cal.
I think you got them.
Did you get Clemson?
I said Clemson, yeah.
I think you said Clemson. Okay. Well, yeah, I think you got all of them then. So
ball knowledge.
I would forget the North Carolina teams. Those would be the ones that would screw me up.
I think those are the easiest because you have North Carolina and then you have North Carolina State. And then the two other are the Duke and Wake Forest. Duke's pretty easy to remember.
I just forget, even though they're decent in football, I just don't remember NC State outside of basketball. So I have weird ways of remembering these things.
Fair enough.
But okay, so we did ACC, Big 12, SEC. So we did the Power 4, right? So
yep, we did the Power 4. I don't have anything else. I did just want to talk a little bit of college ball because we hadn't talked on it in a while. Off season's been a little quiet. Spring practices are going on, but that's about it.
That's fair. Rich Rod locking in, banning TikTok. I'm loving it.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why people are so mad about that. I agree. Good call.
Because they don't know ball. That's why.
But he's not telling them, like, the thing about that is he's not telling them to not do it ever. He's telling them that when you're in the facility practicing, lock in and don't do it.
Well, and he didn't even ban TikTok. He just said ban dancing on TikTok.
Yeah.
In your tights, your football tights.
He's like, you look so stupid when you do that in the locker room. No one wants to see that. And I agree with him.
Nico Marchiol would never.
All right. Well, before we sign off, Jit, do you have anything to add? I feel like words of wisdom are whirling around inside of your head right now. I haven't talked in a minute.
Give me something to say words of wisdom about. I can say something. Anything.
Who's winning the football championship next year? Who's doing it?
I'm just gonna say one thing first. Just because we were talking about like everything in football, I looked at the high school football rankings. Sadly, my high school has dropped to 17th in the country instead of 7th.
Dropped from 7th. That's
Dude,
crazy.
Yeah,
In
it
the
was.
country?
Yeah, in the country.
Good Lord.
That's wild.
The St. Thomas Aquinas. Like, we for a while we were first, but
Did you say your school won high school titles when you were there?
all the time. We haven't lost a state championship since 2017,
That's crazy.
What a run!
and that was
But
just
your
one
school's
time.
name is St. Thomas Aquinas?
Yeah,
Mhm.
from Fort Lauderdale.
This isn't a dude. An Italian priest.
What are
You don't know who St. Thomas
You're
Aquinas
looking for a
is?
high school.
St. Thomas Aquinas High School.
Of course,
Dude.
it's named after a saint. You have
Hey.
to look
Some
up the
old
school.
Italian dude.
And the dude
That's
is
crazy.
from, he's an Italian priest that died in 1274. Oh my God.
But some words of
What are
wisdom.
you looking
That's
at?
crazy.
I think.
Okay.
I hope it's a
Dude,
Florida
he looks
team.
gassed too. Hold on.
I hope it's a Florida team. Just because that's just kind of how I'm feeling. I don't know. I feel like Florida has been sort of waiting. I don't know. But words of wisdom today. Here's some good words of wisdom. Just gonna start throwing things out there, just some good advice. Don't forget your charge to charge your laptop for going to bed. I forgot that this week and I came to class unprepared. Remember to take a shower because my friend does not shower and I threatened to spray him with a hose with Dawn dish soap.
Look at this guy.
Probably spray that guy.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Get 8 hours of sleep.
Get
Brush
out
your
of the
teeth.
sleep, brush your teeth.
Guys, we need to end
wear
it.
deodorant.
We need to end it.
Wear deodorant.
No,
and-
we need Jit to air his. Jit doesn't get a chance whenever we're analyzing
I'm
things.
into
All right.
it.
This
Yeah,
isn't
Jit-
wisdom. This is basic hygiene.
oh, you want wisdom? Give me a topic.
I
Say
think
something that's
basic
troubling
hygiene
you.
is relevant.
This is the
Okay.
JIT therapy hour. All right, tell me.
Hour?
Yeah, right here. No. We have JIT therapy couple minutes. All right, say something. Say a topic. I'll give my
All right,
opinion.
here you go. I'm gonna make you a new rule. Every time we record, you have to be prepared with a quote of the day.
Okay, sounds good.
Not necessarily
give us a
today.
quote of the day.
No,
Not
I want to hear
necessarily
one.
today, but
Put him on the spot.
I'll say one today. All right.
no, it has to be
I can see
yours.
the
You can't look it
cogs.
up.
The cogs are turning. No, the cogs are turning right now.
No, he's looking like
All right.
this.
This is a great live stream.
Some people were meant to be losers.
Ah, yeah.
That's gonna
I like
offend
that
some
one.
people right there.
Nah, not our viewers.
Well, no, you can't take it personally.
If you're a viewer of the Coal Country podcast, you are not a loser.
That's true. Everybody watching right now, we love each and
You're
every one of you.
winners. I love you guys. I'm just saying that, like, I know all of our viewers are not losers. We're winners because we're Mountaineers. That's one thing. And another thing that we're winners is because we all share a love for Mountaineer football and Mountaineer sports.
There you go. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
Gives us a sort of discipline, you know.
The
Should we
viewers.
do the quote of the day? What were you saying, Tyler?
I was gonna say the viewers have gone up on X since JIT Wisdom started. They must like it.
They like Jit. Should we do the Jit quote of the day before we start talking about things, or after the episode's over?
I
What
think
do
it
we
should be
think?
the end.
I like it at the end.
You like it? Yeah,
I
I
Good
was
way
it.
to tie everything together.
Good way to end it up.
at the end. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that is going to do it for this live edition of the Coal Country Podcast.
Absolutely.
So for all of you guys watching, make sure to please like, comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell to get notified every time we go live and every time we post a new video. Do your due diligence, all right? So, logging off from me, from Matt, from Max, that is off camera, you can't see him, and from Tyler, we will see you on the next episode.
Goodbye, America.
Good night, gamers.